It's great to see you all, and I hope you're all doing all right. We're going to be talking today about anxiety and stress, and it's one of my favorite topics because I think it's easier to overcome than we think. When we're talking about anxiety, generally we're talking about something in the future. We're normally anxious about something that's coming up, worrying about something. And I say this all the time. And I know I can see a lot of familiar faces, so you're probably sick of me saying it, but nothing is real. And when I say that, I understand you're looking at me on a computer, you can touch the computer and say, well, my computer's real. I know that's real. But that's not what I mean. When it comes to our worrying and ruminating and depression and all those things that affect us psychologically, what I mean by nothing's real is when we think about our past, it's not exactly as it was because our memory is not 100%. In fact, they've done, in all the brain scans they've done, and looking at brain imaging and functioning and all of those kind of things, there's no area of the brain that kind of holds memory. So all memory is constructed. It's constructed, and it's not real because our memory is 100%. How we remember something will be defined by the emotion that's attached to it. If you think about any memory of yours, any strong memory, you'll find there is a strong emotional element to it. And as I've been saying for a while now, when we're emotional, we're not functioning optimally. And how we remember something will be affected by how we were emotional at the time. So the past, if you like, is not real. And even if it was, there's nothing we can do about the past. The past is a void, a vacuum that stretches back to the Big Bang. Even what I've just said now is in that void. If I'd said something completely ridiculous, it's in that void. I can't get it back. So there's no point in worrying about what we could have done, should have done, would have done, if onlys. There's no point. I know most of you are therapists, and I know most of you are dealing with people, with psychological problems or habitual behaviors or whatever it is they want to change. And when we talk about depression is really ruminating about the past. If you're worrying about the past, then you're generally depressed. This understanding that it doesn't exist any longer, and there's no point beating ourselves up, because for me, regret is the most useless emotion. Regretting what we've done. Hopefully we learn something from it and we improve and we try and be better, but worrying about it is of no consequence. So the past isn't real. And the future hasn't happened yet. And it can only be imagined. So that's not real either. They did some research, and one of the part of this research, but they put this guy in a HMRI scanner. Don't quote me on this, because I'm not sure about his medical terms and stuff, but where they could see the activity of his brain. And they wired him up, and they gave him a simple task, and the task was just to press the button in his right hand or his left hand randomly. Whenever he wanted to press a button, just press the button. And after about 5 or 10 minutes of watching this guy's brain activity, the people who were watching and monitoring the screen could predict which thumb he was going to press before he pressed it. And sometimes, get this, it was 15 seconds before he pressed his thumb. So they could see the activity in his brain. Now, when I read that bit of research, it occurred to me, we can't do anything without our brain figuring out how to do it before we even move a muscle. All of that, whether you press his thumb or not, with the decision to press his thumb, was made outside of his conscious awareness. If you have a cup or a pen on your desk and I ask you to pick it up, you could do that easily. But to build a robot to do that one simple task would be immense. You need the best mechanics, computer people, to build a robot to pick a cup up without crushing it or dropping it, pour it into a hole in its face and put it down without spilling it. Take the best mechanics, best computer people. But if I say to you, can you pick your cup up? You can pick your cup up and make that action. But before you even move a muscle, everything that is needed to do that will have been figured out in a microsecond before you move a muscle. Now, when I read that bit of research, it occurred to me, I can't do anything. I can't pick a cup up. I can't pick that pen up. I can't meet someone for the first time. I can't present without my mind running to the outcome before I even do it. Because that's how our brain works. I'm just going to go gallery view because I think.
Oh, sorry, Freddie, that was me.
All right. Yeah, it puts me off looking at myself when I'm talking.
Well, you don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, so it occurred to me that I can't do anything, nothing, without my mind or brain running to the outcome first. Now, generally, because the main driver in us as human beings is survival. The two main drivers are survival and procreation. But one of those is survival. And so when we're thinking about our future, our brain is going to work through everything that happens before that to keep us safe. And it's going to come up with anything that could possibly go wrong to avoid doing it, if you like. We don't see it like this. We just get a feeling. When we think about an outcome, we think about what we're going to do next. We get a feeling. And it might be a feeling of anxiety. Because part of what's going through your head is all the things that could possibly go wrong. If you've got kids, you know that never stops. Now, my oldest boy's 52 now. I still worry about him. And he's got his own kids, adults. But I still worry about him. You know, but I have to keep reminding myself that whatever I'm worrying about, whatever I'm thinking about, it's just my imagination in this moment. It's just my imagination. So my thinking on this is, we may as well imagine the best outcome. Because either way, it's not real. Talking about my oldest son, some years ago, say he's 52 now, but when he was about, I don't know, maybe late 30s, 40s, we're having a conversation, and he lives in a place called Tunbridge Wells. And if you know Tunbridge Wells, it's kind of a posh place. It's very expensive to live there because it's in the commute belt to London. And he's worked hard his whole life. He's got his own company, and he's got, you know, guys working for him and all that kind of stuff. He's worked hard. He's very smart. And he's got this beautiful house. And when he was about 40, he said, Mel, this is his wife. He said, Mel and I have discussed it. He said, and if I just tweak my mortgage, I can pay my mortgage off by the time I'm 50. But in the very next breath, he said, but what if the people I subcontract off decide not to use subcontractors in the next 10 years? What happens then? So I said, well, when was the last time you had a day out of work? He said, I've never been out of work. I said, how long have you been subcontracting off this company for? He said, 20 years. I said, well, you can worry about that. You know, I said, why in the next 10 years would they stop using you as a subcontractor? You can think that and carry on paying your mortgage till you're 65. Or you can imagine living in £1 million house with no mortgage at 50. Which one of those thoughts empower you? because either way, it's not real in this moment. I personally refuse to worry about anything. I refuse, downright refuse to worry about anything. It makes me seem crazy, I know. When I was a kid, and I know I shouldn't have been, but I used to go to the pubs at 14 and 15 because I looked older. Strange enough, when I was a kid, I looked older. Now I look so young. But anyway, when I was a kid, I used to go to the pubs. And I remember I must have been maybe 15 years old, and I walked into this pub, and the local town drunk was in there. I never saw him again, but I remember his name. His name was Sticks. I don't know why they called him Sticks, but that was what they called him. And he was drunk. And someone said to him, Sticks, doesn't it bother you that drinking like that, you're going to die, it's going to kill you? And he said something so profound that it stuck with me forever. And I was only a kid. But he said, if you worry, you die. If you die, you don't worry. So why worry? Worrying is going to kill you before anything else. It's going to take years off your life before anything else. It'll affect you physically. We have to keep reminding ourselves that whatever we're worrying about, that outcome's in the future. And the future hasn't happened yet. It can only be imagined. Normally now I break into a song, and some of you probably heard my song, and some of you still got my song stuck in your head, I expect. But for those who haven't heard me singing yet, you're going to have to suffer it. And you do have a chance to switch off, because you will be stuck with my voice in your head forever if you don't switch off right now. Because in a moment I'm going to sing to you, and it's about what I'm just talking about. From today, whenever you start to feel anxious or start to worry about something in the future, no matter what it is, this song's going to bring you back to the moment. As I said, if you do have a moment, switch the sound off. Otherwise, you're stuck with this in your head forever. You ready? Just my imagination running away with me. Just my imagination running away with me. Now, from today, if ever you start to worry, unfortunately, you're going to immediately be hearing my voice in your head singing that song, and it will bring you back to this moment. And in this moment, that hasn't happened yet. You can change someone's day, you can change someone's life in a sentence. The next time a friend of yours or someone says to you speak to someone and say, how are you? And they say, well, yeah, I'm okay, but I'm feeling a bit anxious. I've got this thing coming up. I'm meeting this person for the first time. I've got to present. Just say these words. Imagine it differently. Just say those words. Imagine it differently. And when you're worrying about something, bring yourself back to the moment and imagine it differently. What if it's that easy? What if being free of anxiety was that easy? I believe it is. I believe it is. Once you recognize that nothing exists outside of your skull except as perception. Nothing. You're all looking at me, and Jeanette, Jeanette could describe me to Alison. Alison could describe me to Chris, and Chris could describe me to Nicole. Hi, Diana. And Nicole could describe me as Diana. She's just turned up. Great to see you. And you have a kind of, where he's wearing a black top and he's got a bald head and blah, blah, blah. But if for one moment, Jeanette could have Alison's perception of me, what Alison's actually seeing, it would be so different. It would be like psychedelic. Because I don't exist outside of your head except as these electrically excitable cells in your brain and synapses and all those other brilliant words I have no understanding of. But that's what's going on. That's all I am. And everything you believe everything you believe you are could be changed in an instant with a blunt instrument or a scalpel, because none of it exists outside your skull. It's a quote I read years ago now because I love it. It's a Shakespearean quote. Bear in mind, the man was around 500 years ago. And I was just thinking about this when I read this quote. And it just seems to fit. And I think he was thinking the same thing. I don't know whether he was or not, but I think he might have been. Because this is what he says. It's like I could be bound in a nutshell and still consider myself king of infinite space, were it not for bad dreams. I'll say it again. I could be bound in a nutshell, still consider myself king of infinite space, were it not for bad dreams. You can imagine anything. We've got Zoom now. I talk about friends I have in Australia and America. I'm talking about them because I consider them to be friends. Never met them. Never met these people in real life. But we have a friendship and we laugh together and we discuss stuff together and we share stuff together. And it's pretty immense. I actually feel for these people. They feel for me, which kind of proves that how much of what we feel, how much of what we experience is just in our head. I don't have to be in the same space as somebody to feel that, whatever it is, friendship, love. You don't have to be in the same space anymore, which for me just proves that all of this stuff goes on in our head. So if it is, and it is, then we can choose. We can choose. We can say, does this emotion serve me or not? Is what I'm thinking serving me or not? Are these words that are running through my head serving me or not? And then choose something else if it's not serving you. And it's the same with anxiety and stress. Unfortunately for you, you won't be able to feel anxious anymore because you've got my voice in your head. Just try it for a moment. Think of something that was winding you up or feeling anxious before you sat down here today. Start to think about it, see what happens in your head. Yeah, unfortunately, you've got my song in your head. So it's laughing. You won't be laughing 6 months from now when you're still hearing it. No. No, this is, we have much more choice in life than we have. I created a technique, and I know some of you are my students, so you've heard me say this. I created this technique. It's called total perception management. How to have complete control of your emotions. When I first had the idea, I just, like I do sometimes, came out on Facebook. I just said, I think I can have a technique to switch off our emotions. And someone said, if you could switch off your emotions, doesn't that make you more robot than human? If you can just switch off your emotions. And I thought about that for a while. But having used this now for so long and taught so many people how to use it, I think it's the opposite. I think it makes you a more advanced human being. Because until you learn to have control of your emotions, you are a slave to your emotions. Someone breaks my rules, so I get angry. And not only do you get angry, you're not angry with the person that's just broke your rules, but everyone around you suffers as well. And you say, I have a right to be angry. This person just broke my rules. I have a right to be angry. So I'm going to get into that anger. I'm going to let everyone know I'm angry. Even though it's killing me. And it's not good for the people who didn't break my rules. But I'm going to still indulge myself in it because I'm allowed to be angry. Now my partner's 2 hours late home. Now I'm feeling a bit jealous. They explain they've been caught in traffic, but now I'm feeling jealous. So I'm going to indulge myself in that emotion. They're going to suffer. People around me are going to suffer. But when you come to realize, as I said a moment ago, that none of this stuff exists outside of your skull, except as perception, not even your emotions, then we can choose. The first thing, there's a few men here, the first thing that men have to do is accept when they're behaving badly. Because they don't want to accept it. It's not my fault, it's her fault. If only she hadn't done that. If only they hadn't done that. But never our fault, generally. It's tough. But the first thing for all of us to do this is to accept when we're behaving badly and accept that the emotion we are feeling is detrimental to us. It's not serving us. I'm going to teach you how to do it today. I wasn't going to do it. I'm going to teach you how to do it today, how to go to neutral emotion. Because in neutral, you can make the right decisions. You can take the right action. You can get the right outcome. Most of the big decisions you have made in your life have been in an emotional state. And when you're emotional, you are not functioning optimally. You're not making the best decisions when you're angry. You're not making the best decisions when you're jealous. I say it when I'm teaching this, and I know my son cringes when I say it, but I say never decide to get married when you're madly in love with someone. That's not the time to decide that. When you can't wait to get at each other. Wait until you're 3 or 4 months into it and you're having a cup of tea together, not sure what to say to each other. And if you still think I want to spend the rest of my life with this person, make that decision then. Because we're not functioning properly and making the right decisions when we're heightened emotion. So I'm going to teach you how to go to neutral emotion. That's not I don't care. It's neutral. In neutral, as I said, you can make the right decisions. You can get the right outcome. And it's the same with our anxiety. I know this, I don't mean to be bringing us down as human beings, because we are, and all of you are, the most incredible creation. In this known universe, you are the most incredible creation. And part of that is the ability to love. Part of that is the ability to experience pleasure and love and joy and happiness, which maybe separates us out from the rest of the animal world. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we can have complete control of our emotion. I'm saying if you're feeling love, why not ramp that up? If you're feeling pleasure, why not ramp it up? To have complete control of your emotions, but to be able to negate a negative emotion, something that's detrimental to you, it's not serving you. So I'm going to teach you how to do this today. Every generation, it's a very slow process, passes some information down to the next generation. Gets carried through in our genes. I don't know how many people would need to have complete control of their emotions, and to do that so well that some of that learning and skill gets dumped into their genes and passed on to the next generation. But ultimately, maybe I'm making a big statement here, I think it's the next evolution of mankind. Having control of our emotions is the next evolution. Think about the world in general, how crazy it is. We're in the 21st century, 2023, and people still fighting over borders and religions. Once we get our head around this, I hoped when the COVID crisis hit, and that virus didn't know about borders, had no idea about borders or race or color or anything else. I hoped that it would make everyone on this planet realize that we are not separate from each other. And maybe it would make a change in the way we act towards each other, recognizing that we're all in this together. But people don't. And if anything, it's got worse, I think. So anyway, it's a big dream of mine, but I want all of you here, if you want to do this, is to get that ability to have control of your emotions. There's a poem, and I don't even know all the words to it, but I remember, I think it might be Rudyard Kipling or Bates, something. I think Guy's here, he'll probably tell me. Which starts with, if you can keep your head while all around you are losing theirs, I don't know, a better man you'll be. I don't know, something like that. And that's the joy of this. If in any situation you can get to neutral emotion, in all that panic and mania, you can make the right decision. That's such an advantage. You're feeling whatever you're feeling, and it's you want to be free of that feeling. You know, you've just had a breakup, you've just, you know, some upset in your life, and it's crippling you. It's better go, okay, and it sounds harsh, but just go to neutral in that experience. Someone said the opposite to love is not hate. The opposite to love is indifference. And when I talk about neutral, it's kind of indifference. It's I know everything's going on around me. I know all this chaos is going on, but I'm indifferent to it. And I can stay in this space long enough to make a decision. So I'm going to teach you how to do that today. And I'm going to show you how to let go of all of your anxiety, all of the irrational anxiety and stress that's holding you back. We're going to do that today. I'm going to hypnotize you all. And when we do this, you can listen if you want, but I don't mean this rudely. I'm not interested in your conscious mind. This is an unconscious process that's running, and your unconscious mind will hear everything I've got to say. It will take from it what's needed for you to free yourself from those irrational fears and anxieties. To let go of all the stress. Just take a breath. I was speaking to a young woman last night. When she was 9, she was told she had a learning disability. She's lived, you know, into her 20s without belief. I said, what if they were wrong? What if that person was wrong? What if you wake up tomorrow and you forgot you had a learning disability? How would you be acting? What would you be doing now that you wouldn't be doing yesterday if you woke up and you forgot but that was ever said? Our conscious mind is the least dependable part of our being. It's so limited. Your conscious mind can only remember 7 plus or minus 2 things at the same time. It's very limited. That's why we remember our phone numbers in chunks. 0751 972 3106. Now you've got my phone number. But we remember it in chunks, because to try and remember those numbers in one row is quite hard. Your unconscious mind, which you're going to get an insight into today, is unlimited. It's pretty much infinite. And it exists, as I said earlier, for 2 things. It wants you to be happy, it wants you to be well. It will do everything to make that happen for you. But it needs a clear direction. And the conscious mind is continually making stuff up to justify why we live like we live. It continues to make stuff up to justify our bad behavior, to justify our limitations, Years ago, I don't know, 50, 60 years ago, you could be addicted to maybe 2 or 3 things: heroin, morphine, alcohol. Then the corporates realized this piece of information, that the conscious mind is always going to make excuses for you, because it doesn't want you to make you feel bad. It doesn't want you to feel bad about your limitations or your bad behavior. So it's going to make excuses up. So as soon as the big corporations realized this, they added the word addiction to everything they wanted you to keep buying. If you think you've got a chocolate addiction, you're not going to stop eating chocolate, are you? If you think you've got a gambling addiction, you're not going to stop gambling, are you? Because it's an excuse, isn't it? It's not my fault anymore. I'm addicted to gambling. Sex addiction. You know, before people just say, well, you know, I like sex. Now I'm an addict. Can't help it. It's not my fault anymore. You want someone to continue to buy your product? Add that word, tag that word on addiction. That's the best excuse for everyone. I can't do it. It's not my fault anymore. I've seen over 25,000 people to help them quit smoking, and those 25 people are quit in an hour. Someone's been smoking for 50 years, and we have an hour together, and they quit. And they walk out, they don't have another cigarette. They don't suffer, they don't go for any withdrawal, they just walk away from it. There's 1.3 billion people on this planet who smoke, and they smoke because the word addiction is added to it. Nicotine addiction. Nicotine is an addictive substance, but that part of that equation is so small that anyone can break that. I know, because I've seen it quite literally thousands of times. But that's what keeps people smoking. You've got to ask yourself the question, and I want you to be big enough to ask yourself the question next time a reason pops into your head for why you're not living your absolute truth, or not living the life you absolutely want. The next time that thought comes into your head, just ask the question, could that be an excuse? Is that my conscious mind trying to keep me from feeling bad about my behavior or my limitations? There are 5 questions that I ask my clients when they're setting targets or setting goals or want to change their life. 2 of these questions, I believe, are the best questions in the world. And so you've probably heard me saying them a lot of times, because I'm going to keep repeating them. And they're not my questions. They're from a friend of mine in America called Sandra Grace. And the other 2 questions are this: what has to happen for you to love yourself enough to treat yourself to the life you want, to the health you want, the body you want, happiness you want? What has to happen for you to love yourself enough? I think it's the best question in the world. Her second question is equally as important. If you're not living your life the way you want to live it now, if you're not living that life, if not, why not? If you're not living the life you want, if you've got the physical health and fitness you want, if not, why not? So those are the 2 questions. And I think they're the best questions in the world. My 3 questions, which I tag onto them, are this: what do you want? What do you absolutely want? What do you lay in bed at night thinking, I'd love to be that? I'd love to have that life. What do you want? Second question is, what do you need to do to make that happen? What would you need to do to make that happen? And most people know the answers to those 2 questions. What do I want? I know what I want. I know what I need to do to make that happen. I know those 2 things. But my third question is where everyone falls down. Not everyone, but most of us fall down. And the third question is this: what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? to create that life you want. In any 2-year period, we can change our lives completely. I was speaking to that young lady last night at 22 years old. I said, what could you not achieve in 5 years if you really set your mind to it? You could be speaking another 2 languages fluently. You could be playing the piano, playing the guitar like Eric Clapton. Now he leaves you at 27. Most of us are too comfortable. It's easy to sit, isn't it? It's easy to sit, and it's easy to think about the things we want. And it's okay. It's okay. I think it's perfectly okay to be comfortable. I think it's perfectly okay to be content. In fact, that's what we should be aiming at. But if you're not, why not? We're going to think about these things today. I'm going to give you the ability to go to neutral emotion so you can make the right decisions for yourself. Do what serves you so you can have the life you want. Because most of you are therapists here. Most of you are working with people. Sit in your therapy chair and be able to say to your client, I can help you create the life you want. Knowing that you are living that way yourself, at least working towards it. I'm not going to say the word striving because I don't like the word striving, but to be your own true self, to do what makes you happy. If you're stuck with some kind of problem that's killing you, why? We live in a world now where we have so much information. Listen out your conscious mind, making those excuses up. And make a decision. I am going to take you into a space of unconditional self-love because that's my bottom line for all my clients. I want everyone to feel it. Because why would you bother to be as healthy as you can be if you do not feel that love for yourself? Why would you bother to create the life you want if you do not love yourself? So I'm going to take you to that space. I've done enough jabbering. People are disappearing by their droves. They don't want to hear me anymore. But those of you who are left, if you're ready to do this, ready to get into this with me, get yourself comfortable. Make sure you're in a safe place, not sitting on a window ledge 10 stories up with a hot cup of coffee on your lap. Make sure you're safe and in a comfortable space, and look on it as a time out for you. And understand, while we're together, you are all that matters to me. I want you to go off this call today feeling completely different about the way you're thinking about your future, how you're thinking about yourself, and what you want in your life. So if you're ready to do this, get comfortable, place your hands and feet separate if you can, so you haven't got any legs crossed, arms crossed, any of that stuff. And when you're ready to do this, just take a breath in, hold it for a moment, and as you breathe out, just allow your eyes to close, but only as quickly as you're ready to make these changes. Just for a while, nobody wants anything and no one expects anything. And there is nothing for you to do but to relax. I'm going to say some words, and as I say these words, I want you to repeat these words to yourself and aim them at yourself. And even if at first you don't experience it, I want you to continue to repeat these words as I say them, so that because you will experience that feeling in a moment. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My right arm is heavy and relaxed. My right arm is heavy and relaxed. My right arm is heavy and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My left arm is heavy and relaxed. My left arm is heavy and relaxed. My left arm is heavy and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My right leg is heavy and relaxed. My right leg is heavy and relaxed. My right leg is heavy and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My left leg is heavy and relaxed. My left leg is heavy and relaxed. My left leg is heavy and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. Now, as you drift deeper, deeper, deeper down into that feeling, less and less aware of yourself as a physical being, totally aware of yourself as a mind. And that mind drifts without boundaries, without borders, without limits. While the body just seems to drift through time and space. You have no idea where your body is in time and space. Every word I say now takes you deeper and deeper into the most profound state of hypnosis. Get a sense of that happening automatically. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that. Just dropping down through space and time, down toward a place of total bliss. 10, 20, 100 times deeper. That wonderful letting go. Letting go even of the effort it takes to make the effort that it might take. To tell the exact position of arms, legs, or the entire body that drifts through time and space. That wonderful free floating place of effortless relaxation and letting go. Allowing the unconscious to assume more and more responsibility for guiding and directing awareness as you continue to learn even more than before about your abilities, your capacities to learn as you relax. And the mind begins to drift down toward that place. Peaceful, calm, inner awareness. And I can wonder whether you're aware that you've drifted deeply into hypnosis. And just when you think you've reached the ultimate space of relaxation, trance, and profound hypnosis, my voice, my words are going to take you 10 times deeper. Get a sense of that happening. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that now. And as you drift in that wonderful space, you can use your unconscious mind as a resource and inner strength that you can learn from and really have an experience, one that's satisfactory to you. All that's needed to build a good rapport with the unconscious is to have a line of communication. And sometimes the unconscious communicates by movement. It may be that the eye reflex changes and the eyes flicker, or the head moves slightly, or a muscle twitches involuntarily. That's right, you can try and keep those eyes still for they flicker even more. And so as you drift even deeper into hypnosis, I'd like your unconscious mind to allow me to communicate directly with the part of you that is responsible for that protective mechanism. That part of you that keeps you safe and well and reminds you of everything that could possibly go wrong. And when that part has taken full control of those unconscious communications and signals, I'd like it to increase those signals so that you and I understand it's taken control. Good. And even as you become aware of certain sensations, now I'd like to ask that part to explain to you what it is that it's been doing for you, maybe since the moment you first drew breath, why you felt anxious in the past, or you've worried in the past, what it's been trying to do for, what its positive intentions, and when you fully understand at some level of awareness why you've been feeling that anxiety or stress, I'd like it to increase those signals so you and I understand that you know the reason. Good. Now I'd like to ask that part to go to your creative mind, the part of you that dreams, that has ideas, that makes plans. Allow that wonderful creative mind to run and flow and work and come up with lots of new choices, ways of keeping you and the people you love safe, well and protected, but at the same time allowing you complete and utter freedom from every ounce of anxiety and stress, every irrational fear and thought that was ever placed on you. Each time it identifies a new choice that it believes will keep you and the people you love safe, well and protected, but at the same time allowing you complete and utter freedom from the irrational fears, anxiety and stress, I'd like it to increase those signals so that you understand. I'd like to reassure that part that runs that protective mechanism. It doesn't have to take any of the new choices. It doesn't have to give up the irrational fear and anxiety and stress. It simply has to go in and get lots of new choices for you. And it's working brilliantly. And as that part searches, I want you to have the most incredible experience of freedom, liberation. Because in a moment, the essence of who you are, that intangible part of a human being, some people call it the spirit, the soul. I call it the essence. The essence of who you are is going to separate out through the top of your head and leave your body in that chair for a while. It will be the most incredible experience of liberation and freedom. Get a sense of that happening now, just drifting up out through the top of your head, through what's known as the crown chakra. Get a sense of that now, drifting away from your body. Feel that feeling of freedom. I want you to look back at that body in that chair and just for a moment, show it some appreciation. How incredible is your body? Just for a moment, look at that body and just how incredible are you? Because your body is the most incredible creation in the universe. In the history of mankind, there have been 100 billion people on planet Earth, but there's never been another you. You are unique. Just for a moment, look at that body and make a decision to look after that body, to be kind to that body, to love that body. No, it's okay to love your body, to treat it with the kindness that it deserves. The things your body's enabled you to do. How many places you've been because of your feet? How incredible your feet. Just for a moment, look at your hands. How incredible your hands. How many people you held in those hands? How much love have you felt? How many things have your hands enabled you to do? How incredible your hands. Feel into that feeling now. Make a decision to love your body. Treat it with the kindness it deserves. And notice as you drift away from your body, that the essence of who you are is ageless. And nothing that happens to that body in that chair can actually touch you, the essence of who you are. And notice also that the essence of who you are is pure energy, light, and love. That's who you are. That's the spark of your being. It's pure energy, light, and love. The essence of who you are is infinite. Get a sense of drifting higher and higher, drifting up out of that building you're in. Get a sense of drifting up into the sky, drifting so high now that you could actually look back at this beautiful planet we live on. Get a sense of that beautiful blue planet just spinning through space and time. The whites of the clouds, the whites of the mountaintops, the greens of the forests, the blues of the ocean. How beautiful is that planet we live on? How lucky are we to have landed on this planet? And notice as you look at that planet from way off, you get a sense of that planet, how your perspective changes. You think about the 8 billion people on that planet, which you are one unique, incredible individual, because you are. And notice how your perspective changes. Things that had seemed overwhelming no longer have any power over you at all. Things that had seemed hard or difficult to overcome no longer have any power over you. You are love, and you are loved, and you are loving. And the essence of who you are is pure energy, joy, and light. That's who you are. In your mind's eye, get a sense of the target, like an archery target. Get a sense of the coloured bands, the very centre. Now, in the centre of that target is every negative emotion that you've ever felt, that's ever been placed on you. Some you haven't even experienced yet. Every negative emotion, anger, jealousy, malice, frustration, every negative emotion that was ever placed on you, hurt, pain, sadness, is in the center of that target. And in a moment, I'm going to make this sound. As I make that sound, you're going to be fired, shot like an arrow, straight through the center of that target into a space of neutral emotion. But I want you to be brave about this, because as you go through the center of the target, you may experience some of those negative emotions even more intensely for a split second, a microsecond. But be brave. This is the last time any negative emotion will have control over you. So get ready. As you hear that sound, it's going to be fired, shot like an arrow, straight through that target into a space of neutral emotion. And it may seem weird to you because you may have never experienced neutral before. Get ready. And now you're in that space. Nothing bothers or affects you. Nothing disturbs you. You are in neutral emotion. And in neutral, you can make the right decisions, take the right actions, get the right outcome. And as you drift in that space of neutral, I'm going to say the word love. And as you hear that word is going to connect to that feeling of neutral, love. As you hear that word and you drift in that space of neutral, that word is connecting to that feeling of neutral, love. As you hear it for the third time, it's going to be connected to that feeling of neutral emotion, love. As you drift in that space of neutral, you can make the right decisions from today. Whenever you need to think straight or make a decision, whenever you have a negative emotion that you know is detrimental to you, you just say the word love in your mind and you'll return to this state of neutral. Once again, drift further and further away. Get a sense of that planet spinning even further into space. As you drift out into space, free of every earthly tie. Now, once again, get a sense of that target. The coloured bands, maybe see it as a spinning vortex of light. In the centre this time is every positive emotion you've ever felt. Love, pleasure, passion, confidence, fearlessness. Every positive emotion you've ever felt, some you haven't experienced yet, is in the center of that target. But this time, when I make that sound, you're going to go through that target, and now your body and mind are going to be flooded with the most intense feelings of joy and love, passion and pleasure. I want you to know it's okay to feel that good. Total confidence, fearlessness. Get ready. And now your mind and body are flooded with those feelings. And as you feel into that feeling now, as your body and mind's flooded with the most intense feelings of love and joy and happiness and bliss, I'm going to say the word joy. And as you hear that word, those feelings of love, those positive emotions are going to get 10 times stronger. Joy. Feel that feeling growing now. Total pleasure, total joy. Feel it. Joy. And from today, whenever you want to ramp up a good feeling, whenever you're feeling love or pleasure or joy or ecstasy or bliss, and you want to ramp that feeling up, you repeat the word joy in your mind. Feel that feeling growing in your body now. Feel those positive emotions flooding your body and mind. Think about the people you love, people that love you. See those faces, feel that love right now. Feel like a burning hot sun in the summer sky. Shrink it down to a white hot nuclear powered ball of light. Big as a golf ball. Pull it into your heart center. Feel your heart expanding with that feeling of love. And feel those feelings getting stronger and stronger now. Joy. Notice as your body and mind's flooded with those feelings of love and pleasure and joy. Every doubt, every negative limiting belief, every irrational fear and anxiety is gone from your body, because they cannot coexist in your body with that feeling of love. And this feeling now is going to stay with you throughout the rest of your day, because now you have complete control of you. If you need to think straight and you need to be in neutral, you just repeat that word, love. You want to ramp up a good feeling, you repeat the word joy. Now you have complete control of you. Now I'd like to ask that part that's responsible for that protective mechanism. Pick one of the new choices, the one that it believes will keep you safe and well, but at the same time allowing you complete and utter freedom from every irrational thought, anxiety and stress you may have been feeling. When it's made that choice, I want it to increase those signals so you understand. Good. As you become aware of those sensations, I'd like to ask that part now. Integrate this new choice into your body and mind at a molecular, cellular, neurological level. And when it's done it completely, I want it to increase those signals so you and I understand. Good. And from today, whenever you start to feel anxious, whenever you start to worry, you will instantly come back to the moment. You will hear that song in your mind and you'll be reminded to come back to the moment and imagine it differently, because now it belongs to you. You have complete control of you. The essence of who you are is pure energy, joy and light. Feel that now. You're already a whole being. You don't need to be anyone else. You are already the most incredible creation. You are loved and you are loved and you are loving. Go with your unconscious often as you need to know that you're free. Free of the past, free of the future, free to live in this incredible moment, to be in this moment, to squeeze the juice out of every day. Feel into that now. And go over with your unconscious often as you need to know that you have complete control of you, that you are loved and you are loved and you are loving. And only when the unconscious mind knows and has made those changes at a molecular, cellular, neurological level, and allows the conscious mind to accept the changes made. Because in a moment, I'm going to count to 10, and every suggestion I've given you, your mind and body will act upon without hesitation. It's now your reality. Every ounce of anxiety and stress has gone from your body. Imagine that's happened and there's nothing you can do about that. And the harder you try and remember what it felt like to be anxious or afraid, the calmer and more confident you become. From today, if anyone tries to place any doubt on you, you'll hear my voice in your head. You are loved, you are loved, you are loving, you are the most incredible creation. And you know that I believe it, you know it's true. So get ready as I count to 10. On 8, your eyes will open. And you will feel incredible because you are incredible. And on 10, that feeling of freedom, that lightness of being, that new understanding, that feeling of unconditional self-love is going to grow stronger day by day. As you look after yourself and know you are worthy of looking after. 1, feeling absolutely wonderful now. 2, to create the life you want by helping others create the life they want. 3, a feeling of freedom from every limitation that's ever placed on you. Free of every ounce of anxiety and stress. Imagine that's happened and there's nothing you can do about that. 4, feel the force of that energy and love and unconditional self-love flooding through your body and mind now. The most wonderful feeling. So good to be here, to be you. 5, feel incredibly alive now. 6, 7, 8, eyes opening, feeling absolutely incredible. 9, 10. That's right, back in the Zoom. Well, I hope you enjoyed the experience. You are loved, you are loved, you are loving. And nothing is real. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. Nice to see you all. And have a beautiful weekend and enjoy.